Hi everyone, good evening to all. आज जो टॉपिक रही अगेन इंपोर्टेंट टॉपिक्स रही एग्रीकल्चर जोटा तुम मेन्स जो मेन्स आंसर राइटिंग पे जो हमारा सीरीज चली तो मेन्स आंसर राइटिंग सीरीज रे आज आम एग्रीकल्चर देखा एग्रीकल्चर ऑफ जोटा कि इंडिया को देखा से प्रत्येक वर्ष गोटे क्वेश्चन आसूचे एग्रीकल्चर जब देख तो रीजन हूँ एग्रीकल्चर काफी गोटे ब्रॉड सेक्टर्स रही जहाँ को छाड़ी पार ना तो जेहेतु एग्रीकल्चर इंडिया गोटे काफी बड़ सेक्टर्स आम कहीपर तो सहीटा हूँ गोटे ये रही बट हाँ ता पूर्वर मो सेसन स्टार्टिंग रू कहीदिए जो आमर आरंभ बैच रही 14.0 एंड परिपूर्ण बैच रही तो आमर दुईटा बैच रही आरंभ एंड परिपूर्ण परिपूर्ण जो 8 फाउंडेशन बैच रही दुईटा बैच स्टडी रही जोटा कि फाउंडेशन बैच रही जो मैंने कि जोटा मुझे कि नेक्स्ट ईयर जो मैंने तैयारी करुँच ओसीएस तो सहीटा आप देखिपारे कि दैट मीन्स परिपूर्ण 8 एंड आरंभ 14 जोटा रही से मैंने एनरोल करेंगे तार गोल्ड अच्छी एंड प्लाटिनियम्स अच्छी बोथ रू आप एनरोल करेंगे यू कैन यूज माय कोड SHLIV मो कोड यूज करेंगे मैक्सिमम डिस्काउंट आपने जहाँ भी हो तो ये इनफॉरमेशन आप रही जोटा मुझे कौन कहली करेक्ट गुड इवनिंग एवरीवन सोनी प्रसाद तो अगेन दैट मीन्स मुझे कौन कह आज आम एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर को देखा देखे एग्रीकल्चर जमी OPSC थे पचार कि प्रिसिजन एग्रीकल्चर सेमती नेक्स्ट टाइम से पचार पचार के रोल ऑफ टेक्नोलॉजी इन एग्रीकल्चर गोटे क्वेश्चन है और दे मे आस्क यू के डिस्कस द मार्केटिंग चैलेंजेस कौन एग्रीकल्चर से गोटे क्वेश्चन है बा आम कह मेकानाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर क्वेश्चन है और एग्रीकल्चर ऑटोमेशन उपर क्वेश्चन है डिफरेंट क्वेश्चन है एग्रीकल्चर को लेकिन और आउ जदि आम कह आउ कौन क्वेश्चन है एग्रीकल्चर लेट्स से आम कह ऑर्गेनिक फार्मिंग काफी एरिया अच्छी तो एग्रीकल्चर जदि आम डिस्कस करवा तो काफी एरिया रही एग्रीकल्चर जदि मुझे एरिया कही दूसरी जोटा तुम एग्रीकल्चर उपर क्वेश्चंस मेन्स रे आसबार अपॉर्चुनिटी काफी थाए तो फास्ट हूँ देख एग्रीकल्चर किसी तुमको बेसिक डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स दरकार तो फास्ट हूँ लेट से जमी तुम जान कि कार्बन एग्रीकल्चर लेट से आम कहे कार्बन एग्रीकल्चर ये गोटे क्वेश्चन तुम काफी इंपोर्टेंट क्वेश्चन है पारे कार्बन एग्रीकल्चर लेट से आम कह टेक्नोलोजी इन एग्रीकल्चर राइट जदि आम कहीपर इन एग्रीकल्चर ये गोटे फैक्टर्स है पारे सेमती जदि तुम कहीपर मार्केटिंग इश्यू को लेकिन सेटा गोटे क्वेश्चन है पारे चैलेंजेस कौन अच्छी इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर सेटा गोटे क्वेश्चन है पारे तो एमती डिफरेंट डिफरेंट टाइप्स रो क्वेश्चंस बा ये जो कार्बन एग्रीकल्चर ये गोटे इमर्जिंग एरिया आम कहीपर जो तुमको क्वेश्चंस पचारि पारती जहाँ भी हो तो गोटे गोटे डिस्कस करवा बट डिस्कस करिया पूर्व मुझे कहीदी वंस अगेन कहीदी क्या परिपूर्ण सेशन चली StudyIQ जोटा कि फाउंडेशन बैचेस सब चलती परिपूर्ण बैच चली आरंभ बैच चलती फाउंडेशन बैच सब चलती जोटा तुमने एनरोल कर फॉर द बेटर आम कहीपर प्रिपरेशंस मु स्टार्टिंग सेशन आज जोटा स्टार्टिंग होची तुम एग्रीकल्चर सेशन स्टार्ट होची से कही स्टार्टिंग रो हम किसी डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स को देखीदवा किसी डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स को देखला परे देन आम कॉन्सेप्ट वाला पार्ट को जीवा राइट कहीं जिते तुम मेन्स रे आसूची ना एग्रीकल्चर जिते आम कहे राइट आम जिते प्रिलिम्स पढ़ुचे आम पढ़ुचे यहाँ खरीफ यहाँ MSP केते MSP इश्यू को लेकिन क्वेश्चन हो पारे ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन के हो पारे देख एग्रीकल्चर ना बहुत सारे एरिया अच्छी जदि मु कभर करने मत कह एग्रीकल्चर बहुत सारा चले जमी तुम ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन तार इंपैक्ट कौन एनवायरमेंटल इंपैक्ट से गोटे क्वेश्चन हो पार और लेट्स से कौन तुमको लगुच दैट मीन्स एवरग्रीन एग्रीकल्चर कथा आम कहीपर काफ़ी सारा कीवर्ड्स तुम रही जहाँ भी हो आगे मुझे किसी डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स को देखी किसी डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स को कवर कलापर तापर आम आसवा किंतु गोटे सेसन रे एग्रीकल्चर को केबे भी सारी हब ना तेणु पार्ट 2 करके जदि मु आनिबी के जेमती तमरो आमे कहबा कि ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन रे इंपैक्ट कोन पड़ला तार चैलेंजेस कोन रहिला ताकू नै कि एनवायरमेंटल तो डिफरेंट डिफरेंट एंगल को जाई परिबा आमे तेणु ये जो गोटे सेसन 1 आवर सेसन रे केबे भी एग्रीकल्चर को सारी हबनी कने एग्रीकल्चर गोटे बहुत बड़ा सेक्टर्स आमे कहि परिबा एंड तमने जानछ 50% ऑफ लेबर एंगेज हे कि अछि एग्रीकल्चर रे एग्रीकल्चर जदि मु कहबी किछि इंपोर्टेंट डेटा जदि फैक्ट्स तमन को मु एग्रीकल्चर कहबी जोटा मेंस आंसर राइटिंग पे काफी तमन को हेल्प करिवो तो फॉर एग्जांपल्स मु जदि कहबी देखो लगभग आमे कहबा 49% केते लगभग 49% ऑफ लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन तो जो लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन रही 49% किंतु जदि आमे कहबा जो फीमेल दैट मींस जदि आमे कहबा जो फीमेल पार्टिसिपेशन इज इंक्रीजिंग इन द एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर जदि हम कहबा द फीमेल लेबर पार्टिसिपेशन दैट इज इंक्रीजिंग whereas द मेल जदि हम कहबा द मेल पार्टनर्स दे आर व्हाट डिक्रीजिंग ये गोटे ट्रेंड हमको देख जहाँ को हम कहछे वुमेनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर जहाँ को हम कोन कहछे वुमेनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर राइट या को हम कहछे कोन वुमेनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर दैट मींस द वुमेन र पार्टिसिपेशन इन एग्रीकल्चर बढ़ुची जहाँ को मु कहबो वुमेनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर ताले तमे कहबो ए जो वुमेनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर मध्ये तुमको क्वेश्चन गोटे ही पारे एटा गोटे कह लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन देखले जीडीपी शेयर केते रहइबो जीडीपी शेयर त माने देखि परबो ओनली 14 to 15% रहिछि जीडीपी शेयर सेठी लेबर फोर्स पार्टिसिपेशन कली रूरल इकोनॉमी केते 75% ऑफ रूरल इकोनॉमी डिपेंड्स करे एग्रीकल्चर ऊपर 75% एंड 80% होछि मार्जिनल फार्मर के रहउछि तमरो राइट दे आर मार्जिनल फार्मर्स 80% होछि मार्जिनल फार्मर्स इंडिया रे देखिबा देन 50% जदि तमे देखिबा लगभग 50% होछि हमर रेनफेड ये होछि हमर कोन रेनफेड एग्रीकल्चर तुमको देखा जिवो रेनफेड केते 50% 75% कोन रूरल इंडिया डिपेंड्स करूछि प्लस फूड सिक्योरिटी ऑफ इंडिया डिपेंड्स ऑन एग्रीकल्चर एंड एग्रीकल्चर जदि हम कहिबा जोटा फूड ग्रेन प्रोडक्शन मोर देन 330 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन्स रु अधिक हमरो जदि प्रोडक्शन हम देखिबा केते प्लस मु कहबी 330 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन्स रो फूड ग्रेन प्रोडक्शन होछि राइट जीडीपी शेयर मु देखि देली एम्प्लॉयमेंट जोटा 45% लिखाइ छि पीरियडिक लेबर फोर्स कहछि तो लगभग मु कते कहि ताऊ 49% तो दैट्स मींस क्लोजली हम ताकू देखि परिबा सिंध फीमेल रो पार्टिसिपेशन बढ़ुछि वुमेन रो जोटा मेल रो पार्टिसिपेशन कमछि वुमेनाइजेशन ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर कथा कहछि ना वाटर जदि कहबा दुनिया रे जदि हम कहबा मैक्सिमम ग्राउंड वाटर जदि कौन सी देश एग्रीकल्चर यूज होची से होची इंडिया एंड इंडिया मोर देन 80% केते 80% रु अधिक एग्रीकल्चर ही एका ग्राउंड वाटर को यूज करूची कोन करूची ground water drawn for the agriculture that means more than 80% of the groundwater which is being drawn that is used in agriculture then comes to your consumption for the what domestic purposes then it comes industry so industry will comes third so that is also one of the factors that you need to remember while writing the तेणु करी एग्रीकल्चर राइट करिया पूर्व कौन सी आंसर जिते तुम मेन्स रे आसुची तो लिखिया पूर्व इशू डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स यू हैव टू रिमेंबर सो दैट यू कैन एटलीस्ट हां कहबे कि ठीक अछि नाउ व्हाट वुड बी मेकानाइजेशन तो मेकानाइजेशन जति हम देखिबा मेकानाइजेशन हमरो काफी लो अछि पर कैपिटल इनकम्स एग्रीकल्चर हमरो मध्य कम अछि नेशनल एवरेज तो ये किछि डेटा जोटा फैक्ट्स मु तमन को पाखरे रखुची जीवीए हमें देखिबा केते 3.5% हमर जीवीए किछि मु आगुरु कहिछि किछि डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स कहिबी कना मेंस आंसर राइटिंग पे एटा जरूरी एटा मु ये क्लास मु नउची मेंस आंसर राइटिंग पई दैट इज व्हाई तनु जो माने भी देखु छ तुमको लागो कोन डायरेक्ट डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स को आसुची एग्रीकल्चर डेफिनेशन है किछि नाही तार रीजन मु तुमको कहि देली काहे कि मु एटा दउची बिकॉज़ ये डिपेंड करे मेंस आंसर राइटिंग पई दैट इज व्हाई एमते नाही कि एग्रीकल्चर मीनिंग कोन एटा प्राइमरी सेक्टर कि नहीं एटा को उपकर सेक्टर एटी तो सेति पे हमें जाउने हम से इथर दैट मींस हम कहबा नेट सोन एरिया केते हम कहबा 140 टू 50 मिलियन हेक्टेयर्स रहिछि ग्रॉस क्रॉप्ड एरिया केते रहिछि क्रॉपिंग इंटेंसिटी हम केते देखो 142% क्रॉपिंग इंटेंसिटी रहिछि स्मॉल एंड मार्जिनल फार्मर्स मु केते कहतली मोर देन 80% रहिछि एठी मु कहतली 80% एठी लिखाइछि 86% एवरेज लैंड होल्डिंग देखो काफी कम रहिछि तमको सर ए सब को हम यूज कोठी करबा काफी यूज हे परियो कना जेतरा इश्यूज आसीबो ना एग्रीकल्चर देयर यू हैव टू यूज तो सेतरो तमे जेतरा एग्रीकल्चर इश्यूज आसीबो सेठी तमे ताको लिखि परिबो राइट सेमती जीडीपी शेयर देखले आम इरिगेशन देख जोटा मुझे कहूली लगभग 50% एरिया आमर आगे 50% थिला बर्तमान 45% तुम देखिपर जोटा हूँ रेनफेड ताले नेट इरिगेटेड केते 55% नेट इरिगेटेड 55% होची ताले 45% कोन हिजो हमरो दैट वुड बी रेनफेड एग्रीकल्चर हिजो माइक्रो इरिगेशन ए सब रही टोटल प्रोडक्शन देखो राइस ये सब देखो 135 मिलियन मेट्रिक टन्स व्हीट्स मध्यम आई थिंक मिलियन टन्स कोर्सेस ग्रेन पल्सेस ये सब तो जोटा मु तुमको कहथि 330 मिलियन टन्स रो हमको प्रोडक्शन हिची जोटा हमको फूड ग्रेन वन ऑफ द हाईएस्ट सेकंड लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ राइट एंड व्हीट कॉटन भी कथा नहीं लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर ऑफ पल्सेस मिल्क पोटाटो रे सेकंड पल्सेस कथा नहीं सेमती हॉर्टिकल्चर सेक्टर रे जदि तुम देखो टोटल प्रोडक्शंस मध्य 355 मिलियन टन्स ये भी मध्य हम देखो हॉर्टिकल्चर काफी मध्य इंप्रूव कर जामे कहले फ्रूट्स वगैरह वेजिटेबल एंड फ्रूट्स सेकंड लार्जेस्ट प्रोड्यूसर इन द वर्ल्ड ऑब्वियसली की है चाइना लार्जेस्ट वन सेमती जदि मु कहबी तुमको लाइफ स्टॉक रे रही हमर देखो 30% लाइफ स्टॉक शेयर एग्रीकल्चर मिल्क नंबर 1 इन द वर्ल्ड एक प्रोडक्शन सेकंड इन द वर्ल्ड चाइना अच्छी पर कैपिटल मिल्क अवेलेबिलिटी ये दी तुम सेमती फिशरी सेक्टर को आम देखा केते रही राइट ये गोटे सेक्टर से आम देखी थर्ड इन द वर्ल्ड प्रधानमंत्री पीएम मत्स्य संपदा योजना रही इंपोर्टेंस ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर ताले इंपोर्टेंस कौन देन चैलेंजेस को ये किसी डेटा एंड फैक्ट्स आगे मुझे देखी इंपोर्टेंस कहवा के देख 14 to 15% जीडीपी शेयर करूची एम्प्लॉयमेंट 45% दउची लाइवलीहुड दउची फूड सिक्योरिटी दउची मोर देन 80% रूरल पॉपुलेशन डिपेंड करूची रूरल डेवलपमेंट पॉवर्टी रिडक्शन एम्प्लॉयमेंट रहउची न्यूट्रिशन दउची एंड एग्रीकल्चर जदि फेल्युअर हिजबो ताले एग्रीकल्चर आउर इंपोर्टेंस कोन तुमको सारे इन्फ्लेशन को मेंटेन करे क्या जदि एग्रीकल्चर खत्म हिजबो दैट मींस द बैकबोन ऑफ इकोनॉमी ताले एग्रीकल्चर को हमें कोन कहबा the backbone of economy Indian economy रो जदि हम कहबा it's a what backbone of Indian agriculture but यूएसए तारीफ लगाई कि रखी वर्तमान जदि हम देखिबा कोन इशू आसी तमरो तारीफ इशू आसी जाई तो ये गोटे इशू आसी के आसी कि तारीफ एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट ऊपर ए जो यूएसए तारीफ लगाई कि रखी राइट दैट इज द इशू सेटा को गोटे हम इशू मध्ये कहि परिबा समस्त को बुझा पड़ुछि ताले एग्रीकल्चर ना सेटा तुम कहबो एग्रीकल्चर 4.0 इंडस्ट्रियलाइजेशन 4.0 करेक्ट वी आर मूविंग टुवर्ड्स दैट तन करी सेटा को हमें मध्य कहि परिबा एंड आउ कोन रही दिस वुड इन्फ्लेशन को मध्य तमरो जो हमर इन्फ्लेशन रही तब माने जानिछ कि इन्फ्लेशन को कंट्रोल करिवो दैट विल कंट्रोल द इन्फ्लेशन से कोन करिवो इन्फ्लेशन को कंट्रोल करिवो दैट इज आल्सो इंपोर्टेंट है ना ये कौन इन्फ्लेशन को मध्य कंट्रोल करिवो कारण यदि एग्रीकल्चर फेल होची रेस्ट ऑफ द थिंग्स आल्सो ऑट टू बी फेल हिथवे एंड दैट इज व्हाई वी नीड टू फोकस ऑन द एग्रीकल्चर दैट्स स्ट्रेंथनिंग द एग्रीकल्चर द मार्केटिंग्स ऑफ द एग्रीकल्चर वी नीड टू फोकस ऑन दैट हाउ टू हैव द गुड मार्केटिंग ऑफ द एग्रीकल्चर हाउ टू डिफ्यूज द टेक्नोलॉजी इनटू द एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर हाउ टू build the Indian agriculture to be more strong how the networking of the Indian agriculture will be done so pretty so these are the things we will try to right how it would be cost effective केमती ही परिबो ड्रेनेज वाटर सप्लाई केमती ही परिबो जोडे कि रेन फेड एग्रीकल्चर केमती करिवो बा में कहबा डबल क्रॉपिंग केमती ही परिबो इंटेंसिटी ऑफ क्रॉप्स केमती ही परिबो बिकॉज़ लैंड अवेलेबिलिटी is decreasing as the land availability is decreasing we need to focus on what the productivity किंतु से सस्टेनेबल भी हवा दरकार जेमती आमे कहूचे एग्रीकल्चर 4.0 कथा कहूचे आमे कहूचे ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन कथा कहूचे आमे एवरग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन कथा कहूचे आमे एवरग्रीन एंड ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन भितर डिफरेंस जानिछो व्हेन वी टॉक अबाउट द ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन दैट मींस वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट ओनली फॉर द intensity of the production to produce more and more when I talk about the green revolution But when it comes to the what evergreen revolution, that means I am talking about sustainable agriculture. I am talking about what? Carbon agriculture. I am talking about what? Carbon agriculture. Then you might have thought about in the mind, so what exactly means the carbon agriculture? That means the carbon sequestration. How the Indian agriculture will be what? That will sequester more carbons from the atmosphere, so that we can at least move for the what? The net zero 2070 target. That will be there, because we are already having Panchamrita, that is what the environmental commitment we did in COP26. That Panchamrit was also there, and that is why we need to focus the agriculture to be more reliant, to be more vibrant, to be more environmental sustainable and the friendly. We need to target on that, is not it? So that would be ours. What take jodi what you have take, so take jodi am कहबा, that would be. तेणु जदि आम फोकस करवा, दैट मीन्स आउ कौन कि मार्केटिंग, दैट मीन्स बोथ फॉरवर्ड एंड बैकवर्ड एग्रीकल्चर सेक्टर को बोथ वी हैव टू फोकस, फॉरवर्ड एंड बैकवर्ड लिंकेजेस कई परिबो, तो बोथ को देखिए। चलो फिर फीचर्स ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, व्हाट आर द फीचर ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर? नाउ व्हेन आई से कि फीचर ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर, दिस इज द इंपॉर्टेंस ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर. There is also challenges of Indian agriculture as well, right? Now what would be the feature of the Indian agriculture? The Indian agriculture, the features, they're what? This is rain fed. That means when it's a gamble of monsoon, this is rightly called as what? The gamble of monsoon. I mean, that means you're still more than 45 or lagvag 50% of the total, that total agriculture of India depends on the monsoon. If monsoon is good, that means agriculture is going to be good. If monsoon fails, then everything else also fails, right? So that is the scenario. So that is why it is rightly called as the Indian agriculture is the gamble. It's about gamble of monsoon. Gamble of monsoon. Why so? Because if monsoon is good, then you are going to yield. So your yield also going to be good. Now yield भी खराब है जो. That is how. तेणु करी आमे कहबा, that means ये केते परसेंट डिपेंड करूची monsoon ऊपर, लगभग यू में से 50% on an average, I would say 50% dominant. That means एटा में कहले कि 86%. So आउ गोटे फीचर्स यदि इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर में कहबा कि इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर इज डोमिनेटेड बाय द मार्जिनल एंड द स्मॉल फार्मर्स. See, when it comes to the Russia, when it comes to Ukraine, Australia, New Zealand, Argentina, Brazil, Germany, France, this USA, this developed country, China, there the farmers are having land, big patches of land, but we are having the small patches of land, and that is where the mechanization is always a challenge. When it comes to the small patches, that means the mechanization, right? That mechanization will be a challenge. It would be a challenge. Mechanization will be a challenge. So if it comes to this, then it is going to be a challenge for. So that is why. So being it is dominated by the small and that is marginal farmers, obviously that is what a challenge. It's a challenge. Now low productivity is another challenge. Why the low productivity? Because as compared to the global standard, I would say Argentina, Brazil, China, USA, Mexico, एमान को जदि तमे देखिबो, so comparatively the productivity, that means per hectare, when I say productivity, that means per hectare, per acre मध्ये तमे कहि परिबो, per hectare मध्ये कहि परिबो, that the productivity is low as compared to the global standard. Why? Now how and why? Then जदि तमे कहबो कि सर काहे की why productivity is low? Anyone who can comment me, right? Why the agricultural productivity is low? Now agriculture productivity is low in India because of what? Low technological diffusion, low automations. That means I would say because of technology कम रही, less adoption of technology. So better to say less adoption of technology, that is a factors. Mechanization कम, low mechanization, that means low level of mechanization. So this is also a factors. Then आउ कौन diverse cropping systems रही, climate, soils, relief अनुसार हम देखा कोठी कॉटन होची, टा कोठी पल्सेस होची, कोठी टी होची, कोठी कॉफी होची, कोठी सुगर केन होची, number of cropping patterns देखा जिवो. तो ये गोटे मध्य with relief, soils and climate, different climate, ଯେମିତି ଆମର winter ଆସିଗଲା ରବି ହେଲା, summer ଆସିଲା खरीफ, what it would be rainy season, it would be kharif, and when it comes to the hard summer, that would be jaid will be there. ସେମିତି ମିକ୍ସଡ ଫାର୍ମିଂ ସବସିଷ୍ଟେନ୍ସ ଫାର୍ମିଂ ଏଇ ଗୋଟେ ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ମୋଷ୍ଟ ଇମ୍ପୋର୍ଟାଣ୍ଟ ପଏଣ୍ଟ Indian agriculture is largely subsistence in nature. Subsistence in nature means what? When I say Indian agriculture is largely subsistence in nature, that means the peoples are doing agriculture to satisfy their need, their family need. Whatever the surplus will be there, then they will what वो market में बेच देगा. Otherwise they are not doing, majority of the farmers they are not doing agriculture solely for the income purposes. But when it comes to the Punjab, Haryana, Andhra Pradesh, Tamil Nadu, Maharashtra, these farmers, West Bengals, they are doing agriculture for the income purposes. For the what? Income purposes. But when it comes to the Odisha, the state of like Odisha, I would say other parts like Jharkhand, they are not doing agriculture for the income purposes. They are doing agriculture only for the family needs, but depends कहा पर न हो फैमिली पे जेति की दरकार सेति की एटलीस्ट धानटा वर्ष सारा हे जो ताको हमको किनिया को न पड़ो. दैट इज द टारगेट. द ओरिएंटेशन इज दैट इज द व्हाट जदि हम कहिबा. सो दैट वुड बी हा के नहीं सेति की हेले ठीक हे गेला. सो दैट इज द हम कहबा features of the Indian agriculture. And intensive agriculture, we don't have extensive agriculture. Intensive means what? When I say intensive agriculture, that means the use of water per kg of productions of the rice and sugar canes quintal is more. When I say extensive agriculture, I means there is a less requirement of water for the production of 1 kg of rice. When I say more intensive agriculture, that means there's required enough amount of water to produce the 1 kg of rice or the paddy, you may say. So that is why intensive agriculture. But when it comes to other countries, they are having also extensive agriculture. The extensive agriculture will require less water. Now comes to challenges. So these are the what feature of Indian agriculture, and the importance of agriculture is gone. Now we will comes to the what are the challenges. Challenges, see, if you have gone through this data and facts that we have covered, then the challenges will automatically, some of the points will definitely repeats there. What are the challenges? Now in the challenges, the first one is that low productivity. The low productivity, dependence on the monsoon, women's participation is more, low level of mechanizations, credit issues are there, overuse of groundwater, right, and not sustainable. And there is also in the what recent past, I would say, in the recent of late development, what happens that the farmers are started using the more manures, they have started using the more pesticide, weedicides, so that what the environmental loss is one of the key factors, and the loss of biodiversity is one of the key factors when it comes to the Indian agriculture. The Indian agriculture probably the largest factor for the reduction of the biodiversity in the what subcontinent, and especially I would say the peninsular region and the Himalayan region. The agriculture is the most important factors for the loss of biodiversity. And what the weathering erosion, that means I would say soil erosion katha nahi jo tame, degradation of the soils katha nahi jo, salination of the soils katha nahi jo, over irrigation also one of the what factors in the Punjab, Haryana and some parts of the western UP for the what salination of the soils, for the waterlogging conditions. These things are also challenges in the agriculture. So here is the fragmented. First point is like fragmented and the small holding. Majority of the farmers, that is 86% of the Indian farmers, they are the small and marginal. That is also a problem. I mean, that means they are holding land holding less than 1 hectare. Less than what? 1 hectare, or you may say less than what, or equal to, it would be what, less than or 1 hectare lagbhag, I would say average holding. This is also one of the factor. Small size, because of the small size there would be mechanization would be a problems, limited like mechanization, productivity, investment. And another challenge is, big challenge is that is the corporate farming is not motivated in India. शायद समस्तଙ୍କର ଏ କଥା ମନେ ଥିବ ଯେତେବେଳେ मोदी जी ଯେତେବେଳେ बिल आनिथिले एग्रीकल्चर ପାଇଁ ସେତେବେଳେ काफी हो हल्ला ହେଲା, एंड एते सारा हो हल्ला ହେଲା जे से बिल्स को विड्रॉल କରିବାକୁ पड़ला. शायद ए କଥା तमने जानिथिबो. Low per capitals formation, that means Indian agriculture is not largely profitable. But dhire what I'll say that the thought that agriculture investment kale basi paisa no thae, agriculture income no thae, now that is changing. Right now that is changing. Now even dhire agriculture is more profitable. the mindset of the young peoples are changing, the young peoples are moving towards that agriculture, ସେମାନେ agriculture sector ku ଯାଉଛନ୍ତି, there becomes the entrepreneurs in the agriculture, and the agriculture ଯଦି ମୁଁ କହିବି one of the big area where you can invest so much, ଆଉ agriculture entrepreneurship ର ଏତେ scope ଅଛି शायद आउ कौन फिल्ड एत ना एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप कथा मैं कहि बट वुमेन एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप बढ़िया दरकार एंड एग्रीकल्चर पार्क्स वगैरह कराउची फूड प्रोसेसिंग लो लेवल ऑफ मेकानाइजेशन हम देखिए एवरेज 47% हमें कहबा दैट इज ईस्टर्न एंड नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न पार्ट काफी मेकानाइजेशन काफी कम इरिगेशन इशू ओनली 55% क्रॉप्ड एरिया इरिगेटेड दैट मींस बाकी 45% डिपेंड कहां पर करूची मॉनसून ऊपर डिपेंड करूची व्हिच इज ए वेरी डिपेंडेंट बट दिस इज ऑन इवन डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन व्हेन इट कम्स टू द पंजाब एंड ईस्टर्न इंडिया जदि कहबो तुम देख पंजाब कथा जदि नै जबो पंजाब रे जदि हम देखबा इरिगेशन सबटू हाईएस्ट बट व्हेन इट कम्स टू झारखंड ओडिशा छत्तीसगढ़ खास कर एटा मु कहबी आई वुड से नॉर्थ ईस्टर्न स्टेट कथा नै असम कथा नै जो एंड सम पार्ट्स ऑफ मध्य प्रदेश कथा नै जो एटी इरिगेशन काफी कम बट इरिगेशन सबुठू भलो जदि मु कहबी आंध्र प्रदेश मध्य प्रदेश गुजरात पंजाब हरियाणा यूपी एटी इरिगेशन भलो ठीक ठाक अछि बट ओडिशा झारखंड छत्तीसगढ़ ये सब रीजन रे इरिगेशन एते खास नाही जदि एटी रिवर्स अधिक अछि बिकॉज डैम एते के नाही से होटी तो एटी हमें कहबा दैट मींस एग्रीकल्चरल डिस्पैरिटी देखा जबो इन इनकम देखा जबो रीजनल डिस्पैरिटी इन टर्म्स ऑफ एग्रीकल्चर को नहीं कि देखा जबो वाटर क्राइसिस हमें कहले दैट मींस 80% ऑफ द पंजाब एंड हरियाणा इज ओवर एक्सप्लॉइटेड मो ए कथा मध्ये तमन को कहतले कि ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन दैट ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन जेतरा हम कुछ ग्रीन रेवोल्यूशन कथा कुछ दैट मींस इट स्ट्राइक इनटू द माइंड कि is the productions of the food grains in India and the cereals production has gone up and that is why India is now the second largest producer of the cereals in the world after the China. But what are the cost of environment? But what are the cost of underground water over exploitation? That is the cost. Cost is what? That is the soil degradation in forms of the salination, in forms of the I would say anaerobic condition, in forms of kankar formation hochi Punjab, Haryana, all these regions. So green revolution in India that is satisfied the demand of the peoples, that satisfied the need of the peoples, but with the cost of environmental cost, with the what environmental cost, and that environmental cost is going to be a pretty high. एबे देखिबा एंड दैट इज व्हाई तुम देखिबो कि पंजाब हरियाणा ऑल दिस रीजन कैंसर आल्सो काफी हाई कैंसर पेशेंट मध्ये तुमको ये रीजन अधिक व्हाई बिकॉज ऑफ अनवांटेड यूज ऑफ व्हाट आम कहबा पेस्टिसाइड विडिसाइड फर्टिलाइजर ता द्वारा बायो मैग्निफिकेशन बायो अक्युमुलेशंस होची ये सब मेडिसिन्स मध्ये हमको देखा छ एंड हार्मोन आजिकली परिवार तुम देखि परियो हार्मोन यूज कर जोची पालंग पत्र राति के राति देखो पूरा बड़ हे गेल हार्मोन स्प्रे कर दोची सो दिस इज हाउ आम कहबा कि जो मतलब अनइथिकल प्रैक्टिसेस एग्रीकल्चर मध्ये करूछंती दैट इज आल्सो वन ऑफ द कॉन्सर्न्स हमें कहि परिबा तो वाटर क्राइसिस होचे गोटे हमें देखले बाकी एमती बहुत सारा क्राइसिस देखा जबो soil degradation 30% of land is degraded over use of npk that means potash कथा नहीं जाओ तमे और नाइट्रोजन कथा नहीं जाओ जदि हम पोटाश कथा नहीं जाओ यूरिया बा जाके में नाइट्रोजन कथा कहूचे ये ओवर यूज द्वारा कोन हबो दैट मींस इम्बैलेंस इन द न्यूट्रिएंट ऑफ द सॉइल तापे में सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड करिक मध्ये रखितले तापे हम कोन सॉइल हेल्थ कार्ड मध्ये करिक रखितले जा भी प्रोडक्टिविटी चैलेंजेस लो प्रोडक्टिविटी थे एवरेज जदि हम वर्ल्ड रो बाकी प्लेयर्स मानको को देखिबा पर्टिकुलरली मु कहबी जेमती तमरा अर्जेंटीना कथा नहीं जो ब्राजील कथा नहीं जो चाइना कथा नहीं जो मेक्सिको कथा नहीं जो ये जो कंट्रीज माने रही ना दे आर चाहे राइस कथा नहीं जो चाहे पल्सेस कथा नहीं जो चाहे व्हीट कथा नहीं जो चाहे ऑयल सीड कथा नहीं जो ये सब जो थाए से को काफी पर कैपिटल प्रोडक्शंस काफी अधिक होता है बिकॉज मेकानाइजेशन बिकॉज ऑफ एचवाईवी आल्सो दैट मींस हाई यील्ड वैरायटी अछि बिकॉज ऑफ जीएम क्रॉप्स लार्जली ड्रिवन बाय द एग्रीकल्चर जीएम क्रॉप्स एंड जेनेटिकल मॉडिफाइड क्रॉप्स जदि हम कहबा इन इंडिया तो माने जानछो कि ओनली एक्सेप्ट कॉटन नथिंग इज अलाउड एट द जीएम क्रॉप्स इन इंडिया एंड सो ईटेबल प्रोडक्ट्स को इंडिया रे हाईली इट इज बीन बैंड बिकॉज ऑफ सम इथिकल कंसर्न एंड द एनवायरमेंटल कंसर्न को नेकी ताकू बैन करके रखिछ क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन एंड इश्यूज मध्ये रहिछ एमएसपी इशू तो माने जांचे एग्रीकल्चर वन ऑफ द बिग रहिछ क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन व्हेन इट कम्स टू द क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन देन आई विल डेफिनेटली आर द एमएसपी इशू what exactly the MSP is, so how the MSP is prohibiting the crop diversification, that is one of the point. Let's say if somebody is providing MSP and the high MSP is coming in front of the paddy in form of I would say what it would be paddy field, if somebody is growing paddy, that means he or she will enjoy high MSP. What high MSP? Then why he or she will definitely move to other form? Then he and she would not move to any other form of the diversification of the crops. Because let's say Odisha government is saying that for the quintal of paddy, for the per quintal of paddy, we will provide what 3500 rupees, Indian rupees. Let's say that would be provides for the what 1 quintal of paddy in form of procurement, that is the what the FCI, that FCI will comes and that will procure, this would be procure at the price of this much. Let's say jodi ame ether price, that means that is we are calling it the assured price. This is what assured price, this one is what assured price. If this one is the assured price and loko ko lagila ki yaar that means ame to dhana chaso kale benefit adhika hochi, tale they will go for only paddy and paddy. ता द्वारा कौन हबो कि सेमाने आउरी अधिक paddy agriculture चाष बा paddy करिवे, they would not move to any other form of the crops, so that what will happens, there would be low level of diversification. That means the dominance of wheat, dominance of paddy or the rice, the peoples would not move towards the millets. No doubt the millet mission, we have done the millet missions to promote that millet, but one of the challenges comes from the MSP, right? If there would be more MSP, also issues comes from the WTO, also issues, also some other countries that do also raise the questions that India is providing with more than 10% of, that is what, subsidies in the agriculture, so it may becomes in the umber box. What it would be umber box, which is not coming under the white box under as well, or that may comes to the blue box as well. तो सेटा को तमे कहि परौ कि 10% रु अधिक दिया होची, सेटा को थे बहुत टाइम रे बहुत सारा जेमते अर्जेंटीना वगैरह हैला, चाइना हे गेला, सेमने कंप्लेन करनते कि इंडिया इज गिविंग मोर MSP व्हिच इज इलीगल इन फॉर्म्स ऑफ दैट व्हाइट बॉक्स, अंबर बॉक्स, ब्लू बॉक्स साइड तमने पढिथबो WTO रो, जब दैट वुड बी इशू. तो क्रॉप डाइवर्सिफिकेशन हवा दरकार जदि तुम इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर को सस्टेनेबल करिया चाहूचे, जेमते कि इन फॉर्म ऑफ मिलेट, इन फॉर्म ऑफ पल्सेस, इन फॉर्म ऑफ ऑयल सीड, वेजीज एज वेल. दैट मीन्स आमे देखिबा अदर व्हाट वुड बी द वेजीज जदि आमे कहि परिबा, दैट वुड बी देयर. तो वेजीज मध्ये आमे कहि परिबा जेमते लीफी एंड वेजीज, सो लीफीज एंड वेजीज कुड बी देयर. तो ये मध्ये कोटे वन ऑफ द अदर चैलेंज आर देयर related. Then agriculture and marketing price, say other challenges also there, market, inefficient market, the middleman dominance in the supply chain. No doubt यदि हमें देखिए तमें suppose market को जाओ, you are buying a let's say this is now the cauliflower time, the cabbage time, this is the time of cabbage, this is the time of cauliflower, this is the time exactly the high production of the vegetables in the market, isn't it? This is the high production times, and the people even don't have the what that cold storage. Nobody is having the cold storage because that is cost affair. What they will do, they will just cut and sell it, whatever they are getting, whatever they will get from the roadside, they will sell it to the market. Benefit किए पाउछि, जो माने परिबा बिकुचंती आमे कहबा भुवनेश्वर से माने बेनिफिट पाउचंती, कोबी गोटे 10 टंका किनी के आनिबे, एठी बिकबे 30 टंका, तल केते टंका बेनिफिट पाइल. जे लोगटा कष्ट करिकि एते सारा करिकि बढ़ेला, तमान 10 टंका पाइबो, ये एठी बसी कि 15 टंका नै जिवे. So this is how the difference you can see. ये गोटे दिन रे आनी कि बिकी देबो 15 टंका, त मासे 2 मास धर कि कोबी बढ़ेबो से पाइबो 10 टंका. So this is the difference you can see. That means there is a middleman dominance in the supply chain. जेतेबेले farmers नीचे, when the farmers solely will produce and market itself, then they will enjoy the benefits of, or they will get the benefits of that what they are producing, but what they are putting effort. Otherwise it would be difficult. Like the APMC was dako ameko mandi. There is also license raj thela. Once upon a time there was a license raj in the APMC. Whoever will have the what license, he or she would have the opportunity to sell and to market the product in the APMC or the mandi jaha ko ame kon koche mandi. Fragmented market. Now we are having what enam, we are having enam. Now that APMC is not there, now we are having enam. When it comes to the enam, that is the National Electronics Agricultural Market. When I say this APMC is been now connected through the IoTs, so better to say that the diffusion of technology or the incorporations of the what IoTs into the agriculture sector in forms of the marketing, that is the APMC has been connected with the IoTs or the internets. Now it would be National Unified Agricultural Market, ENAM, where the farmer can sell the product while sitting in the puri, any of the mandi of the puri, to the any buyers across the India. Let's say for example e-nam jetla ame koche, when I say e-nam, that means e-nam, how does exactly that work? How does that work? Let's say for example I would say e-nam, ये तो समझते तमने जानी सारी थिबो, एमती कहीं न थिबो कि जी जानी नहीं. That is National Agricultural Market, Electronics Market. Let's say जने पुरी रे कौन से गोटे मंडी रे जने बिकुची, तो गुजरात रे जने के बायर ताको बाय करि परिबो, ऑल इंडिया मार्केट शेयर रही परिबो, तो सेटा गोटे तमे कहि परिबो. बट जो रेस्ट्रिक्शन थिले उठी जाई छी, नो डाउट. बट हां, ट्रांसपोर्टेशन गोटे चैलेंज रही छी एग्रीकल्चर प्रोडक्ट. ता पई गवर्नमेंट कोन करंती, किसान रथ. जदि तमे जानतो किसान रथ मध्ये गवर्नमेंट करंती. प्राइस वोलाटिलिटी, टमाटो केतरे 5 टंका, केतरे 50 टंका, तो केतरे 100 टंका. तो ये जो प्राइस वोलाटिलिटी रही साधारणतः आम कौन कहवा दाको कौन कह शायद तुमने जानी टॉप स्कीम. गवर्नमेंट जिते टॉप स्कीम आनी शायद एक कथा तुमने जानी टॉप स्कीम जो आसी, तो जिते टॉप स्कीम आसाला, तो ये प्राइस वोलाटिलिटी ऑल्सो वन ऑफ द इश्यू ऑफ इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर. जिते मुझे कहबी कि जिते आम कहवा ये जो टॉप आसाला, मतलब टमाटो, ओनियन एंड पोटाटो, जिते ये जो स्कीम आसाला टॉप स्कीम, कि एमानकर प्राइस वोलाटिलिटी काफी अधिक होता है. कहली ना केतबेले तुमको टमाटो 5 टंका मिलिबो, तो केतबेले सेटा 50 टंका हिजबो. ये जो वेरिएबिलिटी ऑफ प्राइस ये काफी गोटे इंपोर्टेंस. तो ता द्वारा फार्मर्स रो लॉस होउची, एठी कंज्यूमर रो लॉस होउची. तो फार्मर जदि तांका पाखरे कोल्ड स्टोरेज रहबे, से 5 टंका रे काई बिकियो, से तो 15 टंका कि 20 टंका रे बिकंदु ना, राइट. कंज्यूमर भी बेनिफिट पाइबे, फार्मर्स भी बेनिफिट पाइबे. जदि वर्ष सारा आम 15-20 टंका पाउचे, दैट मीन्स कंज्यूमर भी खुशी, farmer be खुशी. But because of lack of what, that is the cold storage, the volatility of the price is there because of the perishable product, because of the what, perishable product. When it comes to the seasons, there would be the price will crash, and when the season moves on, when it's starting of the monsoon period starting हे जाए, and that will the peak. Apart from that तो मैंने जाने कि मार्गशीर मास आसीगला, अमुक ही गला, खाई छाड़ा खाई पूर्वरु कार्तिक मास गला परिबा प्राइस बढ़ी जो. These are the things happens with respect to the culture as well. जब MSP कितने, how many crops now, as of now शायद 23 crops has been covered. How much? 23. तो those procurement is limited. केतरे लेट भी ही जाए, केतरे procurement कौन ही था लेट मत है. this procurement also late, और जितने लेट है जो open stocking ही था. वर्षा ही गला कौन ना, एबे सपोज आगु को आसुची वर्षा दिन, सॉरी खरा दिन आसुची, बट खरा दिन तो आसीबो, किंतु एबे तमे जानिबो कि खरा दिन कथा छाड़ दे, लेट इट बी. नाउ रिसेंटली today's news, there is again a low par is being forming in the Bay of Bengal. Around in the coming 2 to 3 days, it would be confirmed whether there would be low pressure in the Bay of Bengal or not. And probably, most probably, you are going to experience another tropical cyclones in the month of November, or we are moving through the what November. There may be a tropical cyclones, or maybe a low pressure, maybe a deep depression may forms in the Bay of Bengal, and probably this is going to forms in Saturday. That means today is the Thursday. Saturday and Sunday is going to be rain. In the coastal region of Odisha is going to experience the rain. And what will happen? Because of this, what, that is unseasonal rain, that will cause the damage to the what, ripened paddy in the coastal region. That will hamper to the coastal region, and the harvesting would be a challenging issue. So that is where the disaster also one of the reason, and that is also one of the causing main concern for the what, I would say agriculture. Though the disaster I have forgot to add here, but disaster is also a concern when it comes to the agriculture of India, right? Let it be cyclone, let it be storm source, let it be flood, let it be lightning, etc., and so on and so forth. This kind of disaster also comes and they ravage the agriculture of India. For example, as I said, today is the Thursday. In the coming Saturday and Sunday, there is going to be the rain in the coastal region, and those paddy is been ripens, the standing crops, they are going to be damaged. They're going to damage. Those who are having insured crop, they will get benefit, no doubt. Their crop is been insured, but 90% farmers, they have not insured their crop. Hope you are getting my point. This is also a challenge. Not only the price volatility, there is also the procurement challenges. Let's say you have you are stocking the paddy and stocking something else. You have yield from the field in the mandi, and the mandi does not have that much of infrastructure that will save from the precipitation. When it comes to the precipitation, let's say there would be open stocking is there. If there would be open stocking, what will happen there? There would rain, that will what everything would be just destroyed. तो केबे केबे सुनी थो ना कि गंजाम रे 500 बस्ता धान नष्ट हो गला वर्षा हेकी काहे की मंडी रे धान को ओपन रखा जाइछि. There is no stocking system, there is no asbestos, there is no shedding. So what will happens to that? That would be loss. A post harvest loss एते अधिक होछि, which is मतलब a precarious condition. जाको कहते हैं कि a precarious condition in India. And see, after the harvest जदि crop loss होछि ताठो दुखतर कथा किछि नै. The other account, inflation will increase. So we need to reduce the post harvest loss as well in the Indian agriculture. Apart from that, poor infrastructure, that is the post harvest infrastructure we need to have. Like after the harvest, the farmer must have the pretty good road to move the I would say the yield, the produce to the market. Because of the lack of infrastructure, lack of road, lack of communications and the road and transportation, the farmers are not able to move their produce into the market, and that is where they need to sell it in the near and nearby market with low price. That is also one of the reasons why they are getting less price in the region where they are exactly doing the agriculture. Because no need to have that, there is no such of condition that if I am growing the agricultures, let's say paddy, let's say somebody is growing the paddy, that does not mean the nearby region will have the maximum demand for the paddy. Might be other region of India is having a demand for that paddy. Let's say for example, if you are growing the mushrooms in the Odisha is one of the largest producer of the mushroom, that with the button wala mushroom choto jo hai. That does it mean that if Odisha is the largest producer and Odisha would be the largest consumer of the mushrooms? No, that is no. Does no? Then what? Let's say Kolkata, let's say any other big cities will have more demand for the Odisha what mushroom. So how the farmer will transport? Let's say if the transportation system is not there, if the cold chain system is not there, if the transportation related infrastructure is not there, that is also one of the issue. One of the issue. So that is why post harvest and 10% of the total perishable get cold chains. Only 10% perishable get the cold chain. What happens to the 90%? The perished away. That fluctuate the price, and that is why agriculture is the main reason for the inflation, for the food inflation in the Indian economy. And the economists always do have the bothering in the mind, and they remain in tension how to tame this bull of inflation. Yes, bull of inflation, because Indian inflations, and particularly it's the food related and the fuel related inflation, they are pretty difficult to control because of the host of factors. I would not say sole factor. There's a host of factors are lies there. This is also one of the reasons. Then storage loss also there. Fruits, vegetables, there is a loss. Let's say apple, for example. Let's say apple. When apple season is going on, that means the farmers of Himachal Pradesh, Uttarakhand and Jammu and Kashmir, they are not getting profit. But off season, there would be huge demands in the markets. Ketal 100 टंका मिलुची, केतल 200-300 टंका मिलुची. This is how the fluctuation happens also. Now what would be other factors? Socio-economic challenges also there. We are going through the challenges of Indian agriculture. We are going through the challenges of Indian agriculture. This year, if you have heard in many places across the India, where the fertilizers, the farmers were not getting the fertilizer despite having the money for buy it. Even my personal experience is when I moved to the village in this during the paddy cultivation season. Even my village farmers, they are not getting the fertilizer, because every farmers, they were having demand for the fertilizer. The market availability is not there. Then they said why we are not getting the fertilizer. And the size BJP government asila pare saro औषध आउ दउ नाहंती कुआडे एमिति अफुआ भी अछि. मोकले रे सेमति कि नाही. आमे जो इंपोर्ट करूचे जेमति कि चाइना रो आसुची, यूक्रेन रो आसुची, यूएस रो आसुची, रशिया रो आसुची, and Arabian countries रो जो हमरो जो आसे fertilizer might be सेठी किछि हमर कोन हिते जेतरे ट्रेड imbalance होची, and के मना कर दउची जेमति चाइना मना कर दउची मो fertilizer देबेन. सी टाइम रे हमको कोन fertilizer रो scarcity टा गोटे temporary scarcity देखाइते because of the disruption in the trade practices. That is the reason. That doesn't mean the government is having intention not to supply the fertilizer to the farmers. These are the fake narratives and the messages is been spread. Whatever may be. and largely what ଯେମିତି କି motor वगैरह चलाइबा ए सब करबा तो we need to have the what energy labor cost rising ଆଉ ଗୋଟେ problem मध्ये इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर वर्तमान तुम देखिबो शायद जदि कहार बिल बाड़ी थिबो गाँ मानकरे जदि तमने निजे भी फार्मिंग बा फार्म प्रैक्टिसेस थिबो बा तुम घर जदि चाष होइतो जानथिबो वर्तमान लेबर केते दिन को केते 400 टंका तळे केही आसीबन धान काटिया पे के आसीबो कि 400 टंका तळे के धान काटिया पे आसीबो मते को नोबडी विल कम्स व्हाई समस्ते तो माइग्रेंट करके गुजरात पळेले सूरत पळेले दिल्ली पळेले सेठी जागी काम करिवे देन हु विल वर्क हियर हु विल वर्क इन द एग्रीकल्चर देन डू द एग्रीकल्चर टू बी मेकानाइज्ड तादर लेबर कॉस्ट मध्ये बढ़ी बढ़ी जाउछि तार कोन होछि द लेबर कॉस्ट इज इंक्रीजिंग सो फास्ट इन द इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर दिस इज आल्सो वन ऑफ द मेजर इशू एंड इफ द लेबर कॉस्ट विल राइज इन द इंडियन एग्रीकल्चर देन व्हाट वुड बी द repercussion is going to be like that if there would be consistent rising of the labor cost in the Indian agriculture. That means the Indian agricultural produce is no longer will enjoy the competitiveness in the international markets. What in the international market they would lost that privilege, they will lost that glory of being competitive, of being the cheapest produce in the world. They may lose that tag. If they lose that tag, ultimately export will comes down. What export will comes down? If the export will comes down, again the income will reduce. So this is also one of the rising problem is that rising cost, high input cost, and the total output of the agricultural cost is rising in India per kg of rice, everything. Low farmers incomes, that is also one of the aging farmer population, young generation moving to non-farm job. The young people, they are not willing to engage into the agricultural activities. They are moving into the garment sector. They are moving into the I would say what construction sector. They are moving into the IT sector. They are moving into different sectors, and that is why the paucity of the labor market and the labor in the agricultural field is reducing. And this is also one of the reason that the output and eventually जति हम कहबा जो मन को जमी भी छै आगु को जगी से चासो करि परिबनी बंद भी कर दो के nobody is there to look after the field. Who will look after? We are getting old and the parents are getting old, then who will look after this agriculture? Nobody will be there. So this is also one of the reason. Then whether the solution is automation, whether mechanizations or the automation, whether leasing the lands to some corporate, whether this could be the solution, then we have to think on that. Whether this could be the solution for the Indian agriculture if the aging of the farmers is taking place in the different parts, let it be Telangana, let it be Andhra Pradesh, Goa, Karnataka, Kerala, and some other parts of I would say Sikkim and Himachal Pradesh, where the farmers are getting aged. They're getting aged, and because of that age, what the labor cost will rise, and the predictability will come down, and they may not be able to farm their whole land what they possesses. They possess. Okay. So that would be also. Then climates and environmental challenges also there. I was talking about from the rise, the cost of what the rise is, the issues coming from the pest attack, the issues coming from the disasters. Let's say during the time of COVID, when the COVID waves was moving on through the India and the Southeast Asia, that time you might have heard that Pangopalo attack, that pest, that massive pest attacks that started from the Rajasthan, Gujarat, Punjab, Haryana, even some western part of Odisha was also experienced that low cost attack, that low cost international low cost warning station also there. And there is also collaboration between India and Pakistan for the what exchange of information about the low cost attack. The origins in the Saharan region and the sub-Saharan region, they migrate all the way to the India and Pakistan and damage the crops, especially during the time of El Nino. El Nino time, because that desert area will receive more rainfall and that turns into the breeding zones of that locust, and they will ravage the crops, they will damage the crops, and they will destroy everything what will comes in their way. So that is happens with respect to the, I would say, pest. And if another problem is like the yellow rust in the wheat, yellow blast, other pest attacks also. Some other day they also remains in the news, be it paddy, be it wheat, be it sugar canes, be it any other crops, where also what the pest are also frequent, and because of the what genetical modification of the crops and frequent use of pesticide and weedicide, that the pest resistance also another issues in the Indian agriculture. The Indian agriculture, the resistance of the pest is another. What challenges? Because the medicines that you are using to stop the pest to be being sprayed the rest of your field, they may not work some other day or some after the few months or after the few years, because they have developed that resistance, like the drug resistance that the human beings is also developing. I made a short videos on that, how the drugs resistance is going on in India. That is one of the reason for the what more cancer patient is coming in India, and the India is turning to be the cancer capital in the world. That was also one of the reasons. So we need to have what? We need to move towards the organic farming. We need to move toward the organic pesticide. We need to move everything to be organic, everything to be natural, everything to be earth related, to be more evergreen agriculture. We need to focus on the evergreen agriculture rather than green revolution. What exactly means the evergreen agriculture? When I say evergreen agriculture, that means I am indirectly talking about natural farming. I am talking about organic farming. We have to focus on that, otherwise that will ultimately, the day and other, what will happen? The Indian agriculture will be developed so much of the pest resistance. That will also cost much more. We need more R&D also to stop this. So that would be another issue also. So rising. Apart from that, the technological knowledge and challenges. Let's say how only 6% of the farmers receive the scientific advice. Sorry. That is what? Advisories. That means the digital divide limits. That means there is a huge gap in the digital divide. There is a huge gap in the digital learning of the farmers. There is a huge gap of the education of the farmers in India when it comes to the Punjab, Haryana, and those farmers of the Gujarat, Rajasthan, Madhya Pradesh, they are pretty literate, I will say, in terms of the agricultural practices, in terms of their awareness for the what? Agriculture. But when it comes to Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha, Assam, these farmers are poor farmers. They have having less, what I would say, awareness about the agriculture and the practices and the technologies. Adoption rate is pretty less. So digital dividend also there, digital divide also there. I would not say dividend, it's a digital divide. Some other region, the farmers are using so much of digital, so much of IoTs in the agriculture fields, but some other regions, any other region, parts of India like Odisha, Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, and the tribal parts of this region, pretty least amount of technology has been infused into the agricultural sector. That is also the agricultural, I would say, division, the digital divide in terms of the agriculture. If those farmers are using more digital, they would produce more, right? That will be how digital poverty, you may say, digital poverty. So low and use advanced technology, that would be the policy. There would be frequency policy in change, MSP, these things we have already discussed. Okay, what would be frequency change in policy, different government, different policies, these things are also challenges. So many challenges are there, right? Then will comes to the what is precision agriculture. So these things we have done in the front of what are the challenges being faced by the Indian agriculture. Now people comes to the precision agriculture. When I say precision agriculture, I means what? The optimum use of resource, the least wastage of resource. In simple, what I would say, when it comes to the precision agriculture, the optimizing the use of resources and least wastage of resources, that would be the key agenda. You means what? That means it would be smart, it would be techno driven, it would be fertilizer, there would be so much. तो जेतबले मु तमनको कहे कि प्रिसिशन एग्रीकल्चर, व्हेन इज ए प्रिसिशन एग्रीकल्चर टू बी प्रिसाइज, अर्थात लीस्ट वेस्टेज. जदि गोटिए केजी paddy productions by for the 1 kg of the paddy production, if let's say 10 liter of water required, then why should I waste 20 liter of waters? That no need, no logic is that. That has been the Indian farmers has been doing since the what, so many times, since the what I would say civilization. Now the time has turned and the what clock is ticking, that we need to precise, we need to precise. We need to cut the extra use of water in the agriculture. We need to cut the extra uses of electricity in the agriculture. We need to cut the extra uses of fertilizer, unwanted use of fertilizer. Let's say somebody is throwing 100 kg of urea in the agriculture field. Do you think that all that would be intact by the plant? No, only 50% of the sum, or 30 or 35% would be intact by the plants, and the rest of will go in vain. That would wash away, that would weathering, erosion, that will fall to some any other water body like the lakes, like river, wetland, and that will damage that water body. That would be what ultimately lead to the what destruction of what, that is the what environment. And there would be nitrogen pollution in the atmosphere, that will be also pollution, that will lead to blue baby syndromes, that will also what blue baby syndromes, that means also lead to the eutrophication in the water bodies. So number of things also comes, and that is why we need to have the precision agriculture. To precise the agriculture, I means to optimize the resources, to reduce the overuse of everything in the what agriculture, make the agriculture profitable, make it precise, make it comfortable, make it environmental friendly. That is the objective of precision agriculture, and the cost of productions will also reduce, and the cost of production will also reduce, isn't it? That will be also there, isn't it? The cost of production will also reduce, and that is why we should focus on the precision agriculture. How that precision agriculture will be done? So that will be done with the farmer education. That will be done through the diffusion of IoTs, mechanizations, the farmers. That means we need to promote the what mechanization of the Indian agriculture. We need to promote the IoTs and to diffuse the IoTs in the agriculture. We need to use the remote sensing technology. We need to use the robo. That means you can use drone, you can use robot, you can use machine, you can use organic fertilizer, you can use nanotechnology, you can use biotechnology, you can use this the technological driven agriculture. Better to say what precision. How it would be precise? It would be what precision in terms of irrigation, precision in terms of use of fertilizer, precision in terms of use of pesticide, precision in terms of use of machine as well, and optimum use. And the most what the seed we are also using during the time of sowings, that should be also a properly well thought one, whether this seed is well adapted or that is going to give us the maximum what return, then we will go for that. So this is how the precision agriculture talks about. This talks about seed, water, fertilizer, everything is written. I have said to you everything in a detailed way. I have said. So this is the precision agriculture. How you use the ICT, internet communication technology, you can use sensor, GIS, drones, satellite, AI, IoTs, everything you can use. That would be diffused in the agriculture, and so that we will have the precision agriculture. And that precision agriculture is now talk of the town. It's now the need of India. Now we will move to technologies. But before moving into the technology, one other thing I will comes to carbon agriculture. One thing I will try to mention you, carbon agriculture. So what is carbon agriculture? What is carbon agriculture? Like the precision agriculture, one topic is trending now in Kurukshetra and Yojana, that is the carbon agriculture. That is what carbon agriculture. This is also pretty trending now, as of now. What exactly the carbon agriculture means? Carbon agriculture means that does not mean that we will use the carbon. No, its meaning is that it's a practice that will increase the amount of carbon stored in the soil and vegetation, reduce the greenhouse gases from the emission of the agricultural field. I means the sense of this topic is that if somebody is doing carbon agriculture, the emission of carbon from the agricultural field will reduce. They will try to reduce it. They will try to reduce it. So that is the objective. Reduction of emission, carbon dioxide and other greenhouse gases led to methane and anything else, or okay. So that reduction ame taku kari pariba. So this is the sequestration. We need to increase the carbon sequestration in the soil, emissions, generate more carbon credit to the farm. So this is how this is carbon agriculture, and this is also having one of the potential questions that could be apart from the precision agriculture is when they have already asked in OPSC. So I think you should go for this one. Okay, carbon agriculture is the new topic. You should go for it. Go for it and do it betterly. Okay, in a proper way. Is it fine? So this is how the agriculture fast day and topic we have done. Baki see, the rest of the things are also there because we need to also go through the technology in agriculture, then green revolution. Baki बहुत सारा topics एमती तमरो agriculture में कहली ना I can't finish agriculture, technology in agriculture एमती बहुत सारा topics अच्छे agriculture. Because हाँ, don't forget to join my Telegram channel, West Mentor, my personal Telegram channel, also the StudyIQ Telegram channel. Join it and get the PDFs as well. Okay, so we will have a second part as well, because second part of agriculture also very important. कारण एथिपाई मु कहबी कि second part is also necessary because जो green revolution है गला, evergreen revolution है गला, organic farming से गला, so much things are also there, right? से सब parts को देखिबा में से पार्ट मध्ये टिके दरकार हो, कहना गोटे सेक्शन रे काफी डिफिकल्ट करबा काफी मो पे इम्पॉसिबल, एंड दिस इज नॉट पॉसिबल के विद इन 1 आवर एग्रीकल्चर इते बड़ सेक्टर को हमें खत्म कर दो फॉर द मेंस पर्सपेक्टिव पॉइंट हो जेते मो कहबी. ओके, चलो फिर with this I will end the session today. Thank you everyone, and I hope session जदि तुम मन को भलो लगथिबो लाइक करियो, सब्सक्राइब करियो and share these channels with others, with other as well. But हाँ, don't forget to enroll the Paripurna and Aarambh batch, which is made for you, for the basic students, those who are going to appear the OCS exams in the coming 2026. Okay, with these words I will end the session today. See you tomorrow. Thank you everyone.